I'm Damien Rice.
Yeah. Playing at the Paradiso tonight. Last time was pretty packed, and hardly anybody here heard of you. So it was completely word of mouth, and that seems to be exemplary for the way your career went. Right? Can you tell me about that?
The whole thing has been sort of well, it's been a little bit surreal because we started off and we got used to having to go to a place and play to nobody, and then come back to a place and then play to 10 people and then come back, and it slowly builds, you know. And then we had to then it was we got used to basically having to go back to places in order to build them. But then when the record came out and the record goes ahead of you to places, it's very strange when you come to a place and people have been talking about you or listening to the record, and all of a sudden all these people arrive at a show and you've never played there before. It's a very strange experience, you know. But it's really nice.
But I actually think that a lot of people here hadn't even heard your record yet,
Right.
or started buying it afterwards. I just wonder. It sort of seems like you've sort of bypassed the whole media thing and just managed to build a career word of mouth. Or am I wrong?
I've no idea. I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to it, you know. It's I'm the kind of person who just I sort of feel that if you really believe in something and you just do it, then it just sort of happens. The universe and it sort of gets behind you and just does all these magical things, you know, unexplainable magical things. And I really enjoy that side of life, the magic side of life, you know, just because it's in moments of taking courage, you know. It's simple moments of just not even courage. It's just allowing life the freedom that it sometimes desires, you know. That it's in those spaces and times where you completely let go that very often things happen that you could never have created yourself if you tried.
So you really believe that it's about sort of forces outside yourself?
Forces inside myself, outside myself, around you, inside of you, outside of everybody else. I think everything in the world happens to do with forces and energy. That we're all completely, you know, inextricably linked, you know, in that way, you know. And so it's like that's what we're made up of, is just pure energy, and it's just energy and forces and chemical reactions. And so obviously, you know, every little thought that we have has an energetic reaction, you know, and that energetic reaction has a physical reaction in the world, you know, and the physical reaction affects other people physically, and then when they're affected physically, then they get affected then emotionally, because they experience it emotionally as well, because they have emotional responses for everything that they feel physically.
But I don't feel that all energy is always like focused towards making good music, you know. A lot of energy goes to making bad music too. I mean, there must be more behind it. You must have, you know, you've directed it all.
Well, I have a particular taste, and I have a particular thing that I like in my life. There's certain things that I am attracted to.
Sure.
Nature things, you know, things that I'm really interested in, things that come from the source, things that come from the origin, you know, like original things, as in anything that grows from the earth, and anything that comes from, you know, sort of an old or more a more authentic kind of source. I like, you know, as in I like instruments that are made out of wood, or, you know, instruments that are handmade, and instruments that are old and have had time and have been played and have, you know, a vibe and a life of their own. I mean, I'm curious about other people who do electronic music and stuff. I find it interesting, but I'm more attracted, for me, to like just having it's a bit like having vegetables in your house, you know, as opposed to going to the supermarket and pulling them out of a plastic packet. When you get, you know, if you want to make a salad, you go to the fridge, pull out the plastic packet, rip off the plastic, take out a tomato, wash it. I prefer having a tomato plant there, and you just pull the tomato off. You don't have to wash it then. It's fine, you know, and it smells better, it tastes better, it's not cold, it's room temperature, you know, because it's growing and it's full of the life energy, you know, as well. So that's what I like about music, is just keeping everything alive, keeping it spontaneous, having nothing planned too much, nothing fertilized, nothing pushed, nothing in a glass house, everything just left to its natural devices as much as possible, you know.
So how should I see that when you write? Does it just sort of come to you, or how does this whole idea translate in your music?
It's sort of abstract, again, it's the kind of thing that I eventually learned how to sort of sacrifice my desires, myself, to just allowing something to happen, and so now when like years ago when I used to sit down and I used to think, oh, I'm a songwriter, I should spend some time songwriting, but now I don't bother, because that was only an attachment that I had, this idea that I had that because I'm a songwriter, surely I should be spending that time. But now I kind of I leave it alone, and when I leave it alone, the better songs come out. When I don't try to write, when I just live, then I experience something that gives my body something to write about, as opposed to just being a person who's trying to do something.
So there was a point where you decided, I'm a songwriter, right? Can you tell me about that?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, that happened sort of by accident as well. I picked up my dad's guitar when I was about 13, and I learned how to play, I think, 2 songs, and then I wrote my own song pretty much straight away, and I'd never thought about it, but it just kind of came out, so I more became a songwriter, just by accident, because I was crap at English in school and poetry and stuff like that. I was really bad at that kind of thing. I was never any good at analyzing poems or stories and writing about them and stuff. But for some reason, when I was left to my own devices with a guitar and with no rules as to how the thing should turn out, then for some reason, some of the things that came out of me were much better than what had come out of me before, where there were restrictions, So I just allow myself that kind of freedom now, and I push to kind of allow myself even more the more I go on, And I'm starting to get to the point where I'm actually pushing to allow everybody around me as much freedom as they want as well, because it's a really interesting space to be in.
So would you get mad at me if I called you a hippie?
No, why would I get mad at you? You have a definition of what a hippie is, and mine might be different,
Not. Oh well, in some circles it's a curse word, and others would say, yeah,
I'm sort of in between. I think we use different words to describe different things. I mean, when I was a child, when I was younger in Ireland, sex was a word that you wouldn't mention because that had a bad negative connotation, because we lived in Catholic Ireland, you know what I mean? And it was a word that you would be embarrassed to say, if somebody said sex, you go, what? And so, and to other people, sex is just this simple, very simple, natural thing that everybody, most people do, and it's just it's the only way we survive, So it's the same word, but it's different people have 2 completely different meanings, and we have words for everything in life, and so I don't mind what you call me, because I don't even know what I am, so therefore I have no name for what I am or what I do. I mean, I know that I'm attracted to people who are called hippies. I'm attracted to the lifestyle of just being relaxed about life, and just being kind to nature. And as opposed to looking at what you can get out of life, you sort of wandered through life more with an energy of what can I share with life? What can I give, and what, how can I fit in, sort of, and contribute, as opposed to, well, how much money can I make, or how many records can I sell, or how, you know what I mean? I'm not interested really in that kind of stuff. It's more like, what can I do in life now? What interesting artistic things can I do in life now that the music is starting to work? How can I expand it in a way that's beautiful? How can I help the world out in some way? Or, it's a constant learning thing,
I heard this story that you were going to have a major big article in Rolling Stone magazine, and they sent a photographer over to do a photo shoot, and you said well, I'm not interested in doing a photo shoot, and they got really mad and they did put the article in. I mean, you don't really care about the whole media thing around making music, do you?
No, not really. I mean, the main reason why I would do interviews is to explain to sort of, because people get a certain impression of you from different things, and I like to I guess I like to expand on what it is that I do just a little bit, you know, and so when you do an interview, if you talk to somebody, then people can get a bit of a better impression as to where it is you're coming from, what kind of colors you hold, you know, or how you're sitting or how you are, you know. But from a point of view of marketing the record and stuff like that, and increasing sales, it's like. Okay, there's a part of me that's aware that it increases awareness, and I've no problem with the idea of it increasing awareness because, again, I feel like the songs were given to me, and I feel like I'd like to share the songs, you know. So yeah, I mean, sure, if some people become aware of it, that's very nice. But I'm also very aware that if everybody is aware of it, then it's not as valuable or as sort of special or beautiful as it was before, you know. So I don't want to be huge, you know. I prefer to have something that's cherished by the people who have it, as opposed to having something that everybody has that nobody really cherishes because everybody has it, you know. It's like if everybody had, you know, loads of diamonds, then what? Nobody would want diamonds, you know. Why would diamonds be so special? Not that I even like diamonds. I don't know why I'm bringing that example up, you know. But you know, it's like now organic food is such a novelty, you know, and people even think of it as a strange thing. What's organic food, you know? It's food the way it always was before we fucked with it, you know. And so for me, whenever I get some organic food, like recently, good, you know, organic food, it's always a treat, you know, because the world is just full of the mass produced stuff, the stuff that's forced, you know. So which is a pity, you know. But it is true that we don't, I find anyway, I don't appreciate the things like air. I'm breathing air right now and I don't really appreciate it, you know. But you stick my head under the water for 60 seconds and when I come back up, I'll appreciate the air, you know. So it's strange. We're unusual creatures, but we're funny.
Okay. Oh, well, he's not knocking out now, so then I can get going. He just knocked and came in like we need to stop. But now I lost track. Yeah, I was wondering about what you were just saying. I don't know. I felt like for some reason there seems to be a need for what you're doing now, you know, musically. Because there seems like last time I was here at the Paradiso, it seemed like it was such a relief for many people to see this type of show. Am I right there, you think? I mean, is there a reason why the time is right for what you're doing now?
That's not something for me to answer, you know, because I'm the one who's doing what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, and if I think about why I'm doing it or the reaction that it's having or where it fits or does it fit or if it doesn't fit, then I change what it is I do. I just do what I do without even thinking about what I do. Sounds like a riddle, but that's the truth, you know. And I made this record for me. It was a completely selfish exercise. I wasn't thinking of what did the world need, or because you know that's almost like if I were to do that, then it'd be almost like me sort of sitting in God's chair, whoever God is, you know, and sort of saying, right, well, the world needs this right now, so I'm going to give it to it. I had no idea of that at all when I was making the record. I asked myself, well, what do I need? And this was what I needed, you know, was to make a record very, very simply and organically. And so that's what I did. And it just happens that people like it. So I'm happy about that, you know.